Working with people and expanding your network is one of the most important things you can do when learning your craft. Filmmaking at its core is built on teamwork. Every day, my goal is to find the best people that I can work with. Ideally, I want to find people who are better than me, that I can trust to get the job done without 100% of my input. But in the beginning, you need to start somewhere. You don't have a budget, so all you can really do, like I mentioned before, is reach out to people and ask who wants to join your project. The key here is to be as honest as possible. Tell them it's unpaid, tell them your goals project, tell them any details you know for sure. Chances are you'll still get at least a few people that put their hands up. As an independent, micro-budget filmmaker, in most cases, you'll end up doing most of the roles yourself, but the goal is to remove as many of those roles as possible. You want to reduce the tasks that require your full attention. If you are spread across too many roles, it means you are unable to commit 100% of your effort and time to any of those tasks. I can typically find people to help me on a film whether I'm offering money or not, and again, I always prefer to give money if I can, but it's not always an option because you need to be able to pay the bills, but you don't want that to stop you from working towards your passion. At very least, you need to offer something. In most cases, this will be an IMDb credit, as this will help them grow their filmmaking CV and find more work in the future. So at very least, you need to give them this. If you don't know how to set up an IMDb listing, subscribe to our channel and we'll show you how. How do I look for new helpers for my project? Put up a listing and post on Facebook groups asking for cast and crew. Worst case scenario is that no one responds and you need to resort to asking mum and dad to hold a camera. But more likely than not, you will get a collection of people that are all happy to help out because they have at least a portion of the same passion that you have toward film. All you can do is ask and see what happens. There are a lot of people in the world who would love to work on a film, even if it's just for the experience. Number one, so when I'm looking for people, whether it be cast or crew, my first move is to use a site like StarNow. Although unfortunately StarNow has changed a bit and it isn't entirely free. That isn't even really a problem because in my opinion, one of the best resources on social media is Facebook groups. Number two, Facebook groups are awesome for a variety of reasons. If you're marketing a business, you could potentially find public Facebook groups made up entirely of your target market. The same goes for later on when you're marketing your film. But way before that, you can use these groups to find your cast and crew. Chances are there will be a Facebook group for filmmakers in your area, and if there's not, you might as well make one. Number three, another method that you could try, I haven't done this very much myself, but I have done it a couple of times, and that is to look on sites like IMDb, or perhaps some other kind of local directory for filmmakers if there's one available to you. Either way, you can go on something like IMDb and search for films that were made in your area. Go through the credits of those films and take note of names you could reach out to. You could reach out to them there, or you could search for them on other social media platforms, but don't spam people because people hate that. When it comes to looking for cast and crew, one big no-no is when you actually manage to make some profit from your project, but you don't divvy it up amongst the hardworking people that helped you make it in the first place. If you do ever receive any kind of financial reward for your film, make sure you share the glory with your cast and crew. Show them that you care and they will surely want to work with you again in the future. Every time that you make a film, you're creating or maintaining relationships. Nurture them, and in return, they will help you grow as a filmmaker. Here are three things that I always try to do on a film project. Number one, if I get paid, they get paid, as I just mentioned. Number two, always ensure that everyone is well fed. If people aren't being paid, the bare minimum you need to do is feed them. And when I say feed them, I mean you need to ensure there is more than enough for everyone. Don't let the food run out. This could potentially be one of the few things that you need to spend some money on, but if you've done things well and people trust and respect you, then you might be able to ask people to bring a share plate to help you cut down on costs while still ensuring that everyone has enough food to keep them going. In addition to food, you want to make sure that everyone is also well hydrated, whether it's hot or cold. In fact, it's easier to become dehydrated when temperatures are cold. The cold makes us think that we aren't thirsty, and so we don't drink. Count how many people you will have on set or on location, and ensure there are enough water bottles to last each person for the entire day. You should also be constantly encouraging people to take breaks and drink water. Number three is to keep everybody safe. Even if a scene of your film needs to look dangerous, it should never truly be dangerous, especially if you're only just starting out in the film industry. If this is your first project, I don't want to see any James Bond style motorbike stunts. Start small and practice safety procedures. Health and safety is an important topic. I'll go into more depth of how I maintain a safe film environment, even on a low to no budget. So health and safety. Safety is always one of the main things on my mind throughout the entire filmmaking process. It should be a priority, whether your film has no budget or a budget of billions. No matter matter what the circumstances are, my main goal is to ensure that everyone is safe and enjoys their time on set. If people feel safe and comfortable when working with me, then I can guarantee that they will want to work with me again. A positive experience will boost your reputation and encourage cast and crew to recommend you to others in their network. In today's world, there are no excuses. Even if your film has scenes that appear dangerous, there are countless tools that you can use to create that element that doesn't put your talent in any real danger. Maybe your film has stunts, but with good understanding of how to utilize camera angles and editing, most stunts can be filmed in a way that causes the audience to perceive danger, like an actor hanging from a cliff with one hand, slowly losing their grip moments away from falling to their death, when in actual fact, they are barely off the ground at all, and were obviously never on a real cliff edge. With the use of camera tricks and also basic VFX, you can create almost any scene that your ambitious film idea might require, while barely even needing to leave your home. Safety can cover a lot of areas. As mentioned before, providing everyone with ample supply of water and food is a big one. When you are feeding people, you also need to clearly understand everyone's dietary requirements in order to avoid feeding something they have allergies to. Some allergic reactions can be lethal, and it is your responsibility to be aware of these and to ensure that your catering meets everyone's needs. Learning proper cable management is also a common skill in filmmaking. Did you know that there is a professional standard when it comes to wrapping up cables? Even if your scene requires a simple setup with just two characters talking, you still need to consider everyone's safety. No doubt you will require some form of equipment that requires electricity. This automatically presents certain safety hazards that you need to be aware of. Crew members need to understand the proper lifting methods for heavy items. Weather conditions can create new safety hazards, and you need to be prepared for any eventuality, as weather can potentially have drastic changes in a short period of time. You also need to create backup plans in case you're unable to film at all. Even during post-production, editors need to be aware of potential hazards. Off the top of your head, can you think of what hazards there could be during editing? Carpal tunnel syndrome can be a big one that can severely impact someone for the rest of their lives. Eye fatigue is also important. We work in a world of filmmaking. Our work is a visual medium, so taking care of our eyes is important. So with that, let's talk about editing and post-production in more depth and how you can piece together your film even if you have no money or experience. Firstly, I'm not going to teach you how to edit in this video, but if you want to learn how to edit, you can do so in this video here. I haven't recorded it yet, so if it's not there, I'll put something else there in the meantime. You don't need to stop watching yet, as I'll also put a link to it in the description. What I am going to talk about are the various tools you can use that will allow you to get the job done while spending as little as possible. First up is the main edit. My chosen software is Premiere Pro. I've been using it for more than a decade. I probably should learn more about other software options, but I've invested so much time into that one that it's hard to convince myself to go somewhere else. Premiere Pro is not a free option, but I just want to tell you what I do. Adobe has monthly subscriptions for all their products, so you can click the link in the description and see if it's something that you can handle. Otherwise, you can also try out Davinci Resolve. They have a free version that can be used on Mac or PC, it doesn't matter. Davinci is one of the most popular editing softwares right now, and often if you hear someone saying they're moving away from Premiere, it's usually because they're moving to Davinci. Plus, Davinci is probably the #1 software for color grading, so it'll make your workflow a lot easier. I typically try to avoid doing my own color grading as I'm not that great at it yet, but those that do it for me all use Davinci. For audio editing, you can go with Audacity. As far as I know, my team doesn't typically use Audacity as they all have paid software at the moment. The software that I use when I need to do the work myself is Adobe Audition, but again, that is not a free software, but just my personal preference, and it comes with the Adobe Creative Cloud bundle. For special effects, for a long time I started using Cinema 4D. This was a student version though, and then when I learned how much the actual software costs, I had a subtle heart attack. Although I did recently learn that the part of the brain that processes pain is activated when we see pricing. After moving away from Cinema 4D, I started using Blender. Blender is a free software, and quite honestly, it is a powerful software, and I personally found it easier to use than Cinema 4D. I believe the projects that Blender can push out might even look a tad better. And when I look at which software gets used more across independent film productions, Blender easily wins, probably because it is easily accessible. On my very first non-student short film ever, I used Blender to create a sandstorm. This was my first time even touching the software, and after following just one tutorial, I was able to get a pretty successful result, in my opinion, especially for someone who was brand new to VFX work in general. As a bonus for this post-production part, I'll also let you know where you can get sounds and quality stock footage for free. You don't need to pay a cent for this stuff. I find ways to use it all the single time. It saves me time, and it's nice to know I have an option that doesn't require a sign up for another subscription to something. For stock footage, try Pexels. I looked at it just recently. I found all kinds of things that I'll know I'll be able to use for a range of projects. For sound effects, you can try Pixabay. I probably go on here at least once a week looking for all kinds of weird sounds that I might need. I haven't had a case where Pixabay wasn't able to give me at least an okay option. And sometimes I might find a sound that is almost what I need, then I just edit it slightly, and then bam, I'm all done, and it doesn't cost me anything. You planned your story, you wrote your script, you filmed your movie, and now you've edited it. After you make your movie, you now need to get it out there so people can actually watch the damn thing. The next section is distribution. There are countless ways that you can bring your movie to the world, but a lot of these can be incredibly expensive. Firstly, what I would do, I would make a trailer for your film as soon as you can and put it up on YouTube. Then use the link to that trailer to verify that your film is real and make a listing for your film on IMDb. Again, we'll have videos showing you how to do this. As soon as this video is available, we'll include it in the description. Once your film is on IMDb, assuming it looks like a great idea, this could potentially open you up to being contacted by distributors. If you have a film that starts winning awards, then your chance go up even higher. As soon as I finished my first feature film and put the trailer on IMDb, I regularly started getting emails from a range of distributors wanting to work with us. If your film is good and they like it, then they will go forward and they'll start doing the work for you. I've never had one of these emails that have asked for any kind of payment for this service. I'm not sure if that actually happens, but if it does, just read it carefully and get a second opinion before you make a decision that feels right for you. If your film is good enough, then you shouldn't need to pay anything to get it distributed this way. Another way to distribute a film, which I believe is actually an amazing option, is YouTube. You can upload short films and feature films to YouTube and instantly get access to over 2 billion users. We put our first feature film on YouTube, and in just weeks it had over 10,000 views. It's not in the millions, but considering this was our first video project uploaded in 4 years, 10K is amazing. I would have been happy for 100. But before you put your film on YouTube, go on Film Freeway. Film Freeway is a site that has almost every film festival in the world, as far as I know. Some festivals require payment to submit, but there are also a lot of free festivals out there as well. It doesn't hurt you to go through the list and submit your film to as many festivals as you can, and if your wallet allows, you might as well try some of the paid options too. At the very least, the free versions will make it a fun experience, knowing that your film at least has a chance of being viewed. Do this before you upload your film to YouTube, because there are a lot of festivals that will have premiere status rules. Some of them won't accept it if your film has been screened in that country. Others might even have a worldwide premiere status rule, meaning that your film can have been screened anywhere, otherwise they won't accept it. Go through Film Freeway and check all the festivals that you want to submit to. Then only after your film has finished its festival run should you finish with YouTube. That being said, you don't need to do a festival run. If you're excited and just want people to watch your film ASAP, just go straight to YouTube. Now that it's on YouTube, you can go ahead and share it with anyone and everyone. There's nothing stopping you. You're probably excited at this stage, so just be careful not to spam people too much. I've covered a lot in these 2 videos, and your brain might hurt a little bit, but I am proud of you for making it this far. Your filmmaking journey is just beginning. Don't stop now. Everything that I've talked about is just skimming the surface, so if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, because we are going to be giving you a mass of free content that expands on every different topic that I've talked about. There is so much to learn, and I'm so excited to follow you on your journey and watch you grow as a filmmaker. All of the products and resources mentioned in parts 1 and 2 of this tutorial are in the description below. If you want to know where to go from here, click this link and I'll see you in the next video.